Morning friends, how are you? Welcome to my cozy haven. My name is Fiona. I'm really glad you've clicked my video today. I am sorry that this didn't go up or I didn't get this recorded Friday. This weekend was a bit of a dud for me, if I'm honest. Pain wise, with my Amy, it was just like I was, my joints were sore, my muscles were sore. I was just exceedingly tired. And it was just like, no, I just don't have the energy or even the inclination to film. So I've had a quiet weekend, which was lovely. Yesterday, I took some very strong pain meds to try and help, and touch wood it has. I'm not going to take them today. I try not to take them, if I'm honest. But at times, needs must, as the saying goes. But reading wise, it's been a fairly decent week. So that's been good. It's been interesting that what I've been wanting to read, what I haven't read. So that for me was quite interesting. So let's get into the book, shall we? So the first book that I read was Mary Lou of the Shalley School by Eleanor M. Brent Dyer. This is number 34 in the series. This is probably one of the most interesting ones. Most people think that the Austrian part of the series is best, and I think because of the characters it possibly is, but it's still really nice to see the other characters as well. So the Shalley School, they're in their second or third term now in the Swiss Overland. And Mary Lou, the main character, she comes back late from holidays because her grandmother has passed away, and the Gran wanted her to be there because Gran had helped bring her up. So it's a very different kind of Mary Lou that comes back. She's more mature. Not that she was immature anyway, but she's even more mature than she was. And she's now a senior in the Shalley School. When she arrives, there's this new girl in the common room. New girl's like, leave me alone, don't want to talk to anyone. And new girl Jessica is just really not happy. And Mary Lou is like, she's determined to find out why. And it's basically the story of Mary Lou working, trying to befriend Jessica, trying to sort of make sure the others in her farm, help her out, etc. It's Jessica kind of realising that maybe what she's done in the past and her attitude, it really does stink and is not sort of the attitude she should be having. I really enjoyed it. It was a good. There's also a definitive moment for Mary Lou and another character, Emerald's Hope. Things happen that could have had dire consequences. I would hope that that what's happened will give Emerald's an absolute shake, and she needs to grow up and just be a more mature person than she is. So yeah, so that's what this one's about. I say I really liked it. Really liked the characters in this. I've enjoyed the characters in the whole series, and there are those that are your favourites. I actually do quite like Mary Lou. I like Barbara. I like Vi. There are lots of characters in the latter half of the series that you do really like. So I'm glad I've read it, and I've sort of stopped at this for the moment. I haven't picked any more up, not because I don't want to, but there are other things I kind of should be reading and in many ways want to read, but sometimes you just need a really good comfort read if you're not feeling that great, and this definitely fitted the bill. I also finished this week 1,000 Days in Venice by Marlene de Blasi. It was okay. I'm probably going to give this 3 out of 5, I think. We meet Marlena, and she is in Italy with friends, and she meets this gentleman. And this gentleman, I would say in some ways pursues her. She eventually kind of gives in to meeting him. And, she doesn't have very much Italian, he doesn't have very much English, but they manage to communicate. And agree to kind of keep communicating with each other when she comes back to the USA. He actually comes out to the USA, and within kind of 3 months she has sold her home, packed up her house, and is moving to Venice with him. And it's a story of them living in Venice, getting married in Venice, all the people she meets, the things that she experiences, how she sees Venice not now as a tourist but as a person living there. And she sort of sees all the various structures of how Venetian politics, etc., plays out. It was a really interesting read. I know that I think I've read the second one in the series, which is 1,000 Days in Tuscany. I did, which I kind of enjoyed as well. I don't know if I will reread it. I quite like that we got recipes in this book as well, which was really nice. Marlena is a is a chef by trade, so it was really interesting to sort of see her horror at the lack of cooking facilities that were in the flat that her would-be husband lived in. But it was interesting to see how she tried to make it into a home, and how they ended up doing a renovation, etc. So I really I enjoyed it. So I gave it 3 out of 5. I have to say, it's not the kind of the best, for me anyway, the best kind of Italian or story of somebody moving to Italy. I much prefer Frances May's Under Tuscan Sun and Bella Tuscany books. But no, I enjoyed it. If you're looking for something that's, slightly different and about somebody moving to a different country than this one is definitely a good read, and yeah, give it a go. I then I finished it yesterday, The Book Lover's Retreat by Heidi Swain. This is one of her standalones. I really enjoyed this one. I give this one 4.5 out of 5. So we meet 3 friends, Emily, Rachel and Tori, and their favourite book is a book called Hope Falls, which is set in the Lake District. And they've been saving for years, and there is there's also a film made of the book, and they've had their name on a waiting list for years to actually go and stay in the cottage that was used in the film. But just before they're about to go, kind of like a week and a half, Tori has to pull out for various reasons. And it's just then Emily and Rachel have to try and find someone to take her place. It ends up being that the woman who owns or runs the let of the cottage, Katrina, she says, well, there's somebody else, a person called Alex, that they assume is a woman. We'll take the place, which is fine. They arrive there to find Alex is not a woman but a man, and this is not very happy for Em, because they'd drawn lots as to who was going to stay in which room, and she had got the room that she wanted, but because Alex is a guy, he has to take the double room, and she and Rachel have to share the twin room. So she's not very happy about that, and she's having to she's got a big decision to make this summer with regards her employment, whether she jacks in her, she's been she was made redundant from her job, but she's got a new job as a data analyst. Doesn't really fill her with joy. She much prefers her sewing and doing her patchwork, and she's sold some commissions, etc. And she would love to do that full time, but money-wise, it's maybe not the best decision. So she's got a decision: is she going to go full-time doing her patchwork, or is she going to, take this new job? Rachel, meanwhile, her boyfriend has asked her to move in with him, and she's in 2 minds about this for various reasons. And then Alex has come because he's got a very particular reason for also wanting to be at the cottage. So it's the story of the 3 of them kind of working out how to have a holiday together and enjoy where they are because of why they're there for the book, etc. And then there's decisions that have to be made by all of them. And it was really, really enjoyable. Tori also comes back into the story at the end, with the last sort of 3 or 4 or 5 chapters. And she's a very different character to... She's grown in the time that the other two have been away, and it actually does wonders for their friendship as well. So this is a book about friendship. It's a book about finding out what you actually want to do in your life, and people helping you because they want to help you, with no strings attached. I really, really enjoyed it. It was a really good read. Thoroughly enjoyed the whole sort of Lake District experience. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this. If you're looking for just a nice cozy read, then definitely pick this one up. I also read, I'll hopefully put the picture up here, Death on Skye by Eileen Templeton. This was one of the books that I had mentioned in my March Mystery Madness Tart Noir video. If you haven't seen that one, I will try and leave a card or something for you. Yeah, this was one of the ones that I talked about, and I thought, well, it was set in Skye, we have family connections in Skye, I need to read it. Okay, I think my silence says enough. I gave this one very generously 2 out of 5. I liked the main character. I liked Kelso Strange, I think, or Strang. He was a great character. He had a lot of things that he had to overcome, and I love that he has been given this new role within the police force. I like the descriptions of Skye, although how many times the author can say that the Black Coolin is very depressing and sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, not monstrous, but along those lines, intimidating, etc. Yeah, didn't need it said so often. So what's happened is that this girl has gone missing on Skye, and 3 people have or 2 people in particular have got in touch with the police, and the local police have sort of done a bit of an investigation, but they don't think anything's amiss. But Strang gets sent up there to see if he can work out what's going on. And he does some investigation and discovers that there is something a bit maybe slightly off, but he doesn't know what. At 60% through the book, this is when the murder happens. So he now has to investigate a murder. And it's all to do with this charity called Human Face. The man that runs it is not a nice guy. He's an intimidating bully who is also using the woman that is his sort of, shall we say, secretary. She's an older woman. She's actually in love with him, and she's wealthy. So basically, he's just using her for her money, and he's using the charity as a front for other activities. I honestly didn't care for the other characters, if I'm being totally honest. It didn't bother me one way or the other. It was like, yeah, fine. I almost DNF'd it, but I decided no, I'm not going to, because I knew it was one that I had, again, put on my Tart Noir video, and I've got to see it through. But it was slow going, ponderous, and I really didn't enjoy it. So if it's up to you whether you give it a go or not. Let's just say I'm not going to be reading any more of that series, which is a shame, but that's just the way that it is. But no, it wasn't for me. The next book I read was A Soldier's Promise. I will leave the card up, the picture up here. I am lucky enough to be in Jane Porter's review team, and I got sent the e-arc of this. I read this in a day. This book just sucked me in. I absolutely adored it. I gave it 5 out of 5. So we meet Savannah, and Savannah used to be a country singer in Nashville, but her husband passed away, and she moved away from there and has come to Montana, and she is pregnant, and she's made friends and got a job for herself in where she is. And her friend Ainsley is going to be spending Christmas at a family ranch in, I think it's Texas. So she asks Savannah, will Savannah move into her and her husband's house to look after their dog? Savannah's like, yeah, sure, no problem. But Ainsley's kind of not too sure, because she knows how, Savannah's pretty close to her due date. But she asks her brother Finn, who's coming home from a military operation, if he will, and he's not going to Texas because he and his father have fallen out, will he kind of pop in to see Savannah? He goes, yeah, sure, no problem. And while when he does do that, he's very shocked to see how pregnant Savannah is. And like, Ainsley and her husband Rye's dog is not that brilliant, it's not that well. And he goes, right, well, wait till we see what the dog's like in the morning. And there's a huge snow blizzard outside, and a tree falls in the house. So it ends up being that he takes Savannah and the dog to go and live on the family ranch, basically, in the big ranch house. And it's the story of the two of them getting to know each other. Savannah has some decisions to make. She thinks she's made it, but she's having second thoughts. He kind of facilitates her thinking, and the two of them get close, but they both know that there are things in the future that maybe is going to preclude them from being together. And it's like, it's a will they, won't they be together? What's going to happen? Is he going to go in the deployment he's supposed to be doing in January? Is she going, what's going to happen with Savannah? There was a lot of questions that were to be answered. I really enjoyed this one. I liked the fact that, Savannah found somebody to talk to, somebody who cared for her as a friend, but also possibly more. I liked the fact that, his family, even though they were in Texas, were concerned about her, and it was lovely. It was just such a lovely story. It really was. There's faith involved in this. Savannah's faith had taken a bit of a dent, but it was like, will she come back to it, and how will that happen? It was just beautifully, beautifully written. Great characters, and definitely one that I would recommend. It was such a nice story. It is book 3 in the series, the Calhouns and Campbell's series. Do you need to read the first 2? It can be read as a standalone, but characters are mentioned during the first 2. So you may want to read the first 2 first, but I really love this one. This one, as I say, comes out on the 23rd of this month. It was just really, really good. The next book I read was Murder at the Wild Haggis Bookshop by Jackie Baldwin. I read this one all yesterday. This was I finished this one last night on the second sprints on Tiffany's channel. I loved this. This got 4.5 out of 5 for me. And it's a series that I want to continue with. So, this is another one from my Tart Noir for March Mystery Madness video. So we meet Beth. And Beth has moved to Oban and is running the Wild Haggis bookshop. And she loves being there. She loves her staff. customers, etc. And they've decided to start what they call the Armchairs Detective Book Club. And this is to do with like reading murder mysteries or thrillers. First, a meeting is being held and 5 people come. One of them happens, there are 2 teachers, there's an author, there's a beautician, there's a reporter. I think that's right. The reporter writes for the Oban Times, which is the one of the West Highland papers. And the reporter ends up dead because she, in the shop at the very, after everyone goes, because she says she's got a big secret that she's going to expose in the newspaper. It's going to be her ticket to freedom again. She's going to go back to Glasgow or the big tabloids. And it's like she's like, somebody here's got a secret. Everyone at the book group has a secret, including the bookstore owner. The bookstore owner is questioned by the police and released. We later find out that there is something in the bookstore owner's past that is making her possibly the prime suspect for this murder. So she sets about with her staff to try and discover who murdered the reporter. We have that. We also have her deciding to tell her staff about her past and how they react to that. We also discover, hold on a minute. We also discover that there's actually more to the bookstore owner's, Beth's, I call her Beth. There's more to Beth's lawyer, Harris, than she knows until kind of the last 5 chapters. And that was really, really nice to find out. She discovers that something that she didn't know, and it actually makes her very happy, which is good. I really enjoyed this, and the pace of it was really good. Characters were excellent. It kept you guessing till the very end as to who was the murderer and why, which I really enjoyed. I'm not one of these people that will read a murder mystery or a cozy mystery and try and work out who the murderer is, because it's just not me. I just want to enjoy the story. And this one was just so fast paced, I didn't even think about that. I was just like, oh right, what's going to happen next? And I absolutely loved it. As I say, first time reading this author for me, and this is the very first book in this series, and at some point, I'm not saying it's going to happen now, but maybe hopefully some point this year I will manage to read book 2, because it was really, really interesting. The policeman, at first you thought, yeah, I don't like you, but he grew on you. He was Logan, I think, is a nice man. So yeah, and I have to say, in the notes, Jackie had said that she'd gone to Oban on a holiday and ended up staying for a while, so she got all the details right, even down to the chocolate shop, which is the chocolate shop in Oban. Is really nice. It sells handmade chocolates, but also does coffees, teas, hot chocolate, etc. It's a very nice shop. Yes, when I'm in Oban, I do go there maybe once, because if I went there, I would more times I would expand. So yes, but no, I'm really glad that she got all the details right. So I was like, yes, somebody who knows where they're talking about, which is wonderful. But no, would highly recommend it. So what am I reading now, I hear you cry? Still doing Donna Ashworth's To the Women. As I say, just read this not every morning when I remember it, but still thoroughly enjoying it. We'll finish it. Reading Vows and Villainy by Elizabeth Penny, which is book number 5 in the Cambridge Bookshop series. Pardon me, I'm buddy reading this with Beth from Soul Stained Ink. I'm we're both kind of behind a wee bit on our schedules, but that's okay. That's fine. We will read it when we read it. But I am really enjoying it. It's a good series. And then I picked up last night. I wasn't in the mood to pick up kind of, shall we say, another murder mystery or a cozy mystery. I just wasn't in the mood. And so I had a wee look in my Kindle and I discovered this book that I'd got from Prime Reading that I haven't read yet. And that's Winter Nights at the Bay Bookshop by Jessica Redland. I started this last night and I am loving it. It is such a good read. I like Jessica Redland. I like the way she writes. I haven't read many of her books. I want to read more. But no, I'm thoroughly enjoying this one. So I will enjoy today at some point snuggling down on the sofa. Hopefully if the sun comes out. I've been really enjoying when the sun is shining. It's low enough that it's coming in our sitting room window and it actually shines on the sofa. Guys, to sit there with the sun shining and the warmth of that, it's just delightful. It is so nice. It was so good that was it Saturday? Saturday afternoon, after lunch, I fell asleep on the sofa into sun. Because it was just, luckily I woke up to watch the Scotland-France rugby match. Wow. Yes, we won. We could have won by a bigger margin, but the boys kind of switched off mentally, which really annoyed me. But no, we won, which was just fantastic. Really chuffed about that. So yes, so that was a good Saturday afternoon. But that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll say I'm sorry this is late, but it's all I could do. Please come chat with me down in the comments. Have you read any of the books I've mentioned? I would love to know. What have you been reading the last week? What were you reading at the weekend? I would, again, love to know that. But until my next video, friends, stay safe. Happy reading. Bye.